Alrighty. Oop, I need my light first. There we go. And we should be good. I am still a little bit under the weather, so I don't know how long I'll go for compared to usual. Might go for a standard length, might not. Haven't quite settled on that just yet. Part of it'll depend on if my voice holds out. Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you. I don't get sick very, like, I say very often. I get sick regularly, but it's always when the weather drastically shifts here. And living in the state of North Carolina, despite our name, we are not in fact that far north. We're sort of about halfway up the east coast of the United States, but we're positioned such that our weather is a little bit schizophrenic. We had, last time I was sick was right around time that temperatures really started to drop here. So we were dealing with like 20 degrees or below, Fahrenheit, mind you, Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Fahrenheit, which for you, Amber, I'll save you the trouble. So 20 degrees Fahrenheit here would be like negative 6.6 repeating a little bit Celsius for you. So, and in some cases into the teens on some nights, especially at night. It is freezing. It's below freezing. It's not even the coldest it can get in the States. Like, we're not even that far north. But so we'd had that weather, and when we shifted from fall into winter, I had gotten sick a while back. But now we, right around Christmas, it had been cold up until Christmas, and then like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and right in there around it, we had temperatures more like 70 degrees to 75 degrees, which is more like 21 to 24 degrees Celsius. So it was a lot warmer all of a sudden. So that sudden shift, but then it's now dropped back down again. So we're down into like the 40s or so. So we dropped another like 30 degrees. So we've dropped back down again into more winter-like temperatures. In fact, right now, it's 60 Fahrenheit out there, according to my little screen here. But I think the low for tonight is 48. So we're not terribly cold now. We haven't gone back to being terribly cold just yet. I suspect we probably will, because that's just the nature of things. And we still really haven't had like an ice storm or anything that we often get. So I'm sure we'll still do that. But that weather shift was also right around my birthday, which coincides kind of with when I started feeling ill again. So it basically, I get some kind of respiratory thing every time the weather drastically shifts. So it seems to be how things work. Hang on a second. So, anywho, it has been all over the place weather-wise. So, I haven't actually had time to sit down and look at this since last stream. In fact, I've left it open, but I haven't worked on it at all. But I was able to at least establish, you know what? The music's even a little crackly to me right now, which is weird. I'll give it a reboot again. See if that helps at all. Also, what current audio system is... Yeah, no, that's fine. Alright. So, when I looked at this last, I was able to verify that if we set the overlay state appropriately, that it will play the animations that we want. So that's good. So we have that part works. If we can get the characters' interactions, the choices from the menu, the equipping process to function, then the animation state will play. The issue right now is sort of twofold, because we need to get the character state to update. And we need it to spawn the mesh. The character state updating isn't necessarily that complicated. But we want it to play, because like the animation doesn't have a transition. So we do want it to play appropriate, like equip animations and that kind of thing. Which we kind of have queued up in some of this, but we also still need to spawn our mesh. And I think I'm still having an issue with valid class items, so I'm not quite sure on that one. Let's see. Let me switch a screen over here. Let me clear this log, because I'm pretty sure this is still an issue. Because I verified last time that everything's firing, basically. also trying to test a couple things here. It's taking it off the shortcut for some reason now, which I don't quite understand. Okay, so we are getting invalid messages. So there is something interesting happening here. UI textures. Hold on. What is it mad about? Textures. UI textures. That the pistol is saved with an empty engine version. Well, presumably if I resave it, it'll be fine. I very much doubt that that has anything to do with it because it is loading it when that comes up. So that is probably just a weird message and not actually related to the issue at hand. Yeah. See, the weird thing is it's not reporting a class at all when that happens. Which I don't fully understand. Because it seems like the way this works, last I checked, is it doesn't have it doesn't come this way, or it doesn't print this if there isn't one. Oh, well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I could see, is it? I thought I had evaluated that it was not outputting this when I selected an empty slot, only when the item was invalid. Oh, we're taking a break. All right. I assume you are at work, Amber, as per usual. Oh, you have day off today. Well, that's good. I hope you're making the most of your day off. Do you want to, oh, well, the ad break's actually about to end, but do you want to see something I printed with my 3D printer? I was going to do it during the ad break here, but okay. I'm going to switch cameras here because it's going to take up more of the screen. All right. Can I do this without it falling apart? Here. Might take parts off of it. Okay. I'm not sure if I can do this super easily. It kind of turned out bigger than planned. So this is one of the party members from the Mass Effect series. Oh, I just dropped her head. Give me a moment. I'm gonna put magnets into the model so that that kind of thing doesn't happen. Where did it go? There it is. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Because it's quite tall. I have to assemble it here and hope that it doesn't fall over. There we go. It's got these little things that slot it together, but they aren't super perfect, so they wobble around a bit. If I can put the head on, there we go. And then this arm goes here. There we go. So she's one of the party members from Mass Effect, Liara. She's ended up being a quarter scale model, which I didn't realize when I was starting the print until I, well, pulled out the first part of it and then realized that she's going to end up quite large. Don't fall. Ah! She's a little wobbly. We remove the pieces. But, yeah, so this is actually a model I bought online. I got it through like a Patreon thing. It's actually meant for resin printing. But it was still able to come out with a lot of detail, which is probably going to get super blown out because it's all printed in white. And the camera's not going to want to focus on it. Come on. Yeah, it may not. It's going to be super blown out. The torso has a lot of detail on it too for like the cape. You know what? Hang on. What do you mean? I went to turn the light off and it is acting like it's not connected for some reason. There we go. So maybe this will help. So it's got details in the texture work to the actual armor and lines in like the chest plate. You can kind of see it when the light hits it. And then her head. Like she's got like eyelashes. there's no way those are showing up in the through all the stream compression. But they're still like, because I had to print supports to like hold it up. All right, that's just not a thing we're doing apparently. Since I had to print supports and stuff, there's some areas that like are rough that I'll have to sand. This doesn't show up on camera, I am sure. Well, you can probably tell that that's really jagged. So that's where like I had to remove support material. So what I'll do, because it has like, so here's one of the keys and here's the matching key. So I'll like drill into those for each of the parts and insert magnets on opposite ends, and that'll hold it together. And then eventually I'm going to paint them, because I'm going to print out the different party members and paint them. I won't be able to print all of them, not now that I've started this large. I suppose the alternative is that I go back, reprint her at a smaller size, and then I can do all of them maybe, but at this size, not possible. Trying to put all the pieces back over there. Painting models stream, maybe eventually. I haven't done any model painting in a very, very long time. I mean, the advantage to this one at least is it's not a miniature. One of the things, so like, I still need to finish this room, because the whole room's going to get rearranged. In fact, my desk, which is actually an L-shaped setup, is going to end up in this corner behind me. And this printer stuff is going to move to a like under a window that's over here. And I'm hoping, because there's a lot of stuff being stored in here, I'm hoping that once I clear a lot of the junk out, we get the room finished, that I can set up like a painting area, because I would need to probably have an airbrush to do it properly, and that would mean I would want to have ventilation and everything. But theoretically, if I was confident in it, I could set it up as a stream. I would probably want to practice first. So I'm not sure. I'm undecided. It is a tentative possibility. But also, I don't have model painting stuff, so like I don't have an airbrush or any of that stuff yet. So that's something else I have to do, is actually get the stuff to do streams like that. So and I already do so many things. I keep giving myself too many hobbies. Can I get this thing? Can I maybe get... Returns the actual object name? Will it really? Okay, I know what I need to do here. Let's do this. empty. I'm gonna have to configure this a little differently than what I was picturing. To help me actually validate this. Let's see, branch. Actually, can you do a build? Yeah, build string boolean. That's actually probably better. Okay, and then we can do this. No, actually, that's not what I want. I was hoping to just let's see. I just want to do a string, like choose between two string options. Yes, this kind of. It has to convert to text, which I don't super love, but I suppose I can work with it. So we'll just say null. Wait, no. If true, then null. I hate how overly complicated that is because it's converting, but I can probably remove it once I get through all this stuff and verify that it's working. Okay, that should result in a little more of a verbose error. Or, I mean, it's not technically an error, but for our purposes it is. Okay, I'm gonna clear it so we can find it nice and easy. And then we're gonna run it. This will also hopefully let us determine if the shortcut thing is the actual issue. Okay, so let's scroll through here. I didn't see it immediately jump up with some... Oh, nope, there we go. Oh, it's mad about something. Data table none. Alright. I'd like to know what data table that's about. Very helpful, Unreal. Super helpful. I don't think it has anything to do with crowd control, because I understand that this is a problem, but we're not actually using crowd control, so that's fine. That's all for stuff to do later. Settings. Yeah, this is related to the crosshair. I know that's missing. That's fine. I don't care right now. Yeah, so no valid item. So I gotta figure out what's mad about the font too. Because the fonts shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so we're ending up here, meaning at that point, whenever that's occurring, which seems to be, based on when I was doing some testing, when we select the actual shortcut that has the item in it, where we are getting screwed up. So I have to assume that it could be from here. I need to check something. Check my third-person project. It should be... This guy is the one I need. Yeah, I wonder... Unequipped, because we're unequipping all items, and then we're getting our last equipped item. So I guess at that stage, the last equipped item it should probably come from this. I bet that's left over from when I was testing some things. Because it should be pulling the item from the shortcut we are trying to use when that happens. Now let's see, do we have a ton of those? Or do we have a different message now? No valid item. So we're still returning no valid item. As well as all these weird text errors that I don't quite... Because I wasn't getting those a while back, so I don't know if maybe a file got corrupted with the fonts. They seem like they're loading, so I'm not sure what it's mad about. Let's see. We can do... Okay. Because at this point... the item should be the item that's in the inventory slot? Or maybe we just need to pull it from the item in this function? I mean, presumably that would be the right thing to do. I'm just meaning because it should have it here if it was already comparing, if it was already getting a selected shortcut. Let's try that. I guess the other thing I could do is I could add the specific shortcut that was selected to the log. Yeah, still no valid item. For a moment, let's assume that the item's valid and we just want to get our other message printed for testing purposes, right? Because I want to see it come through as like null. I want to verify that those strings are empty. All right, let's try this. And verify object, none. That's, yeah, so it actually came up as none rather than just being an empty string. Which is interesting. Now, I don't know the selected slot though in this one. So that's not going to work unless I print. Unless I print the log for the selected shortcut in here. String. Nope, I need a pen. So we're gonna say so this is going to be and then append that. item. Okay. Um, this should help us determine if the slot that's being selected in the moment is actually the one we think has the item in it. It should mostly work. I do have some concerns that it might not, because I don't remember if these are actually ID'd correctly, like as 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of thing. Don't think they are. It's probably like 0 in any case. This is the one we want to know about. So all right, let's see what we got. Okay, that's interesting. Because I don't see those logs being called at all. But we're still hitting our invalid item. And it's, technically speaking, required, in select shortcut at least, to trigger a log string before getting any further with this. So it's not this instance of it that is causing the issue. So it must be this one, which I tried to monitor these and that wasn't working. So I guess it's from here that we're getting the problem. Okay. I mean, we can do basically the same exact thing here. Let's see if this works. Because that'll be logging from a refresh. So there's a few different ways I think that could get triggered. Okay. Item 0 is empty, false. Item. Okay. So this right here does tell us it's happening during refresh, which is not the place that I thought it was happening. But it is happening when the item is selected. Because slot 0, I know we see slot 1, but that, because of how arrays work, it's slot 0. Slot 0 is selected, empty, false, item found. But when it goes to check if the item is valid in the script, it's wrong. And this is also notable here. We just hit an ad break, so I'll go over it after we get back from the ad break. This also tells us that it's not triggering those with empty items specifically. So that's good. Alrighty. And hope you enjoy your food, or as maybe you're coming back with the food. In which case, what are you getting for food? Making pancakes. I guess it is earlier for you, or yes, earlier for you than it is for me. But also, breakfast for dinner is a thing. I haven't had my dinner yet. Probably rely on some leftover pizza or something that we have in the fridge. All right, we appear to be back from ads. So, what I was getting into right before the ad break, and what this tells me here, our debug log is actually providing us the information we want here, because we can see that the invalid item error is only actually occurring. We say error because it's not truly an error. Is only actually occurring when the item exists and the slot is not empty. So, because like slot 1 selected, is empty, true, item, doesn't exist, but there's no following invalid item message after it. But then immediately slot 0 was selected, and then we get our message. And we also should have, I thought I selected some of the other ones, so I would expect to see some other slots in there. And I don't, but that's fine functionally for now. I may be misremembering what I did when I was testing. That tells us actually quite a bit, because that tells us that it's not the it tells us which slot specifically it is, which means it's the slot with the item in it. What I'm assuming is happening here because when we do a refresh, we're doing items to ignore. We check that the inventory component is valid, which is correct. Come up here, we loop through all of the available shortcuts. We break out their information, and we're checking to see if the item in the shortcut is in our list of items to ignore. And if it's not found in that list of items to ignore, we proceed, right? Well, that's when we're trying to feed the item from what I thought would, oh, okay. I've already seen where my problem is. So when I wired this up, my line of thinking was, when we do this, we are providing the current loop item to equip, because it's the loop we ended on. Except that's not true. Now, if we had an item in every slot, this might work, but we don't. So what we have to assume is happening here is, because it's looping through these arrays, the item, and then it completes after it's done, it's going to have to loop through the entire array, assuming it doesn't find the item in the ignored array. Because remember, we're checking for items to ignore, which means it has to be compared against every item in this array. So it has to not find it, even though logically my brain at the time was thinking, let's watch for the current loop of the array that we're on. But that's not what we want to do in this case, because we don't want to find we don't want the ignored item, which that's not what this is giving us anyway. Because we're looking for not found. That's what -1 means in this case. So because we're looking for a not found, this theoretically would return the correct item if it was executing this on the correct item, like on a match. But it's not a match. It's executing it once it's confirmed it's not in there, which means it's run the entire list. And theoretically, if there was an item in every slot, we would probably be getting a different result. We would be getting a valid item. It just wouldn't necessarily be the item we wanted. So it's also possible that if I put the item in the last slot, we would get a correct result. But it's hard to know, since we don't know for sure what order they are functionally in at the moment. So the long and the short of it is, when this is happening, what we actually want to be returning is actually this guy. We want the selected shortcut data. We want the item from the selected shortcut data to be the item that we pass into this guy. I'm pretty confident in this change here. I don't expect it to magically make anything else work, but I do expect us to at least get valid information in our log. Okay. Oh, we got some errors. Get some actual errors that popped up. Set equipped item. So we got further because item not a U class. So we do have to figure out what it's mad about here, and we'll do that in a moment. Boop, 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 boop. So that's our debug info. That's good. Yeah, so then it went to try to assign the item. I definitely selected those other slots though, so I was curious to see if those showed up. And weirdly enough, they did not. But again, not really concerned about that at the moment. They may not, because I was jumping between empty slots. Okay, so we were getting an error. I'm actually surprised it didn't crash since we were getting that error. And we're getting it in the set equipped item. Oh, we're getting it from here. Linked actor. Property item, not a U class. What item was I pulling? Oh, all right. Makes sense. I'm doing the same thing that we don't want to be doing here. So. There we go. That should resolve those error messages. Shortcut. I don't think I have it tied up to the equip stuff yet. Okay. We didn't get an error, actual error messages thrown up that time. Excuse me. Oh, we got some other results here. True item blank. So we are getting these on some empty slots, which is fine. Now that we kind of know what the problem was. Because that means that we're actually passing the data along and it is eventually hitting a point that it doesn't work. But the question is, what is our actual problem here? Because we're getting these. Or do we even have an actual problem? Because it's equipping, but we're not getting our visuals. So BP item, pistol. And then, but when we switch back to slot 0, it is acknowledging that that stuff is in there. And we're not getting our incompatible or our invalid item message. So we are getting a valid item here. So, and set equipped was this guy, which is where we were running into an issue. Does the data table not have... Oh, all right. What are you mad about? If action courts. All right, that's weird. I've got a mesh here. So in theory, we're setting the equipped item. So in theory, we're failing out somewhere over here now, or we're not failing, but we're simply not getting the item we want. That's kind of equally a possibility. I'm gonna pull this over to my other screen here so that I can watch it when we're firing that stuff off. Okay, that doesn't trigger it anyway, but I don't have it set up to do so that doesn't really surprise me. Shortcut. These don't trigger, but this one does. When I hit, only when I'm coming back to it, but when I hit it, it gets through the loop, it finds that it's valid. It goes to set members in equipped item visuals. Okay. Okay, so it's searching. Okay, so this could be where it's having our problem. Because right now, what it is looking for, this is where it's failing here. It's looking for a record in the weapons table, and it is erroring out, which is strange. I assume it has something to do with it not finding it based on the name. But the weapon interface should be allowing this to work. So I'm a little confused as to why it's not. I would have to watch that value. Okay, so let's set up a log message here. None. I guess it'll just come up as none. Name to string. Yeah. That should work. This should do two things. The first is it should allow us to, and I have to pull it over here to watch it. Because we're watching that value, so we should know what it is if that comes across properly. And then no matter what, since the row should be coming up not found based on what we were seeing, we should at the very least get some error messages. Oh, I was failing to look over. Well, let's check our messages. Okay, that's fine. That pretty much tells us what I thought, which is that the weapon ID is coming up as none for some reason. Now, it could be that our boy here is not implementing the interface. Okay. That actually could be part of the problem. Let's add the weapon interface. That could be the entire issue, at least for the weapon ID, because I had it set on the item. It's right here. So it should be passing along something that matches the data table. Could all be just a series of just me being dumb, basically. Honestly, that tends to be the most common type of programming error. It's just simple oversight. Hold on. Now, we shouldn't still be getting those messages. Thank you very much. Because item pistol is our item. But it's not finding the weapon ID. Which doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay. Interesting. It's an object reference. The target should be implementing the weapon interface now. We did it. We put it on here. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want to have to implement this on every single weapon, so I think what I'm going to end up doing, if this functions, is, or at least gets us further, is create a parent between this pistol item and the inventory item parent that's just a weapon object that includes that, so that we don't have to do it every time. Because that is 100% something I'm gonna forget. I'm still getting a row not found, which is interesting. But I'm also... It's saying that the weapon ID is not in scope, which is also strange. Yeah, it's still saying none. Kind of confused. Wait, I figured it out. I'm not confused anymore. I included the wrong weapon interface. There's two of them, and they're stupidly named the same thing. So, yeah. Okay. All right, so... Since we've established that we need this to be a thing, I'm going to do a thing. And we're going to say... Blueprint class. I'm curious because I set up... Okay. I did it for the actor, but not the object. This guy. So, BP. Item. Weapon. Base. Then we can take this guy. Oh, why are you over there? We can include the correct one this time. Yeah, cool. And also need our weapon ID. We're going to default that to none. Just so that I don't end up with any overlapping each other by default. And boop and a boop. Cool. Oh, I do need to set a change of value on here. Because otherwise this will be locked. We need this to be instance editable. Drop-down options. Is there a way to tie that to a data table? No. Cool. All right. Boop. And boop. Then all we have to do is reparent to weapon base. Because that will automatically have that in here. And set up to retrieve that item. And the ID is in here somewhere. Pistol. Cool. And now, in theory, oh, well, we're getting somewhere. Look, the gun is at his feet because it auto-equipped when we picked it up. Technically, it's not in the equipment slot over here, but it's considering whatever's on the selected shortcut to be equipped right now, which is fine. Yeah, it's equipping it when we do that. So that's the thing. It's not playing any animations and it's not in the hand, but it appears. And we're not getting crazy messages. We do get, we get these for whenever an empty slot is selected, but that's fine. As we discussed, that this is more of a debug thing, so that's not really a problem. The weapon base parent here that I created might come in handy as well, because we can use it to probably store some other reusable information across weapons outside of the stuff we already have. So we do need to get the visuals right. Mesh components. Initialize socket. I probably need to double check that all this is correct. But that's actually major progress. We have the weapon is appearing in the world. You know, it's not formally equipped on the character in the sense that it's not holding in the equipment slot and like of our inventory, and it's not appearing in the hand or playing any of the relevant animations, but it is spawning the mesh, which is it's actually attaching it to a socket that's just in the wrong place right now is part of the issue. And so that's all pretty easy to remedy. So I'm going to count that as pretty major progress. And like I said, tonight's stream I was planning on it being pretty short. I need to eat something. And my voice is starting to get a little on me here. So I think I'm going to take a look and see who is available to do a cheeky little raid on. What are we doing over here? Let's see. I don't see many of my usual targets being live right now. We can raid Plobby. We've raided Plobby before, I believe. Plobby is a friend, like a mutual friend with Fruitsy, so I think that'll work. That'll be a good raid target. Plobby's doing 3D modeling, so tangentially related. And I will hopefully feel up to streaming on Thursday. And I'll try to make some more progress on this in the meantime, and maybe we'll have something interesting to show. I didn't do the thingy. Let's see. Let's see. I don't want to launch it just yet. Okay. Yeah, so let's hang on. Let me fix this. Because I think Twitch is being weird. The little box is like grayed out for me here. I can't see the little box. Let me try refresh. All right, well, it's going, I think. Okay, it is going. But it's not letting me see the button to actually do the raid. That's weird. think my browser's messed up. It probably needs to be updated. I've kept it open too long. Alright, well, I can't click the button because my thing's being weird. So, we're about to have an ad, and I don't want to have that happen with the stream. So, we're just going to have to quickly end stream before the ad break happens. And I guess I just won't be clicking a raid button today. But I will try to be back on Thursday.